message now that recording in progress. Okay, very good. So, hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We're back for boot camp. All right, spiritual life coach boot camp day 7. This has been 7 days of content and 7 days of fun. So I am back here today, as promised, with 3 awesome students who are currently enrolled in Spiritual Life Coach certification for Badass Butterflies. This is the 10-month program that I've been enticing you all with over the last several days. And we're just going to talk about their experiences in the program. And everyone's at different levels. Everyone is coming from different backgrounds, but these ladies have very generously taken their time to share, to show up here and to share their experiences of the program. And what's also, I think, really important, making that decision to be a spiritual life coach. And actually, that is where I want to start off with the questions. And what I'll ask you all to do, I'd like for this to be a group discussion where we're talking together, you know, but to make it a little easier, it's probably a good idea to raise your hand. You can, they're just the 4 of us, so you can just raise your hand and say like, hey, I'm getting ready to talk. Hey, y'all. Hi, Crystal in here, I'm getting ready to talk, okay? Feel free to just raise your hand and then unmute yourself and start talking, all right? And the first question that I want to throw out to you all is, why did you become a spiritual life coach? Like what on earth made you want to become a spiritual life coach? Serena.
I was hoping somebody threw the hand up first, but okay.
And so y'all, this is Serena de Stella. And yeah. Serena, will you tell us a little bit about, your pain point that you're working on, like what you want to help people with? You feel like, can you talk about that a little bit?
That has been such an interesting trip to get to that. Although I've known about it all my life, really. It's interesting. This is what I found really interesting doing the work, which is you think you got the pain point, you think you've worked through it, you think you are so wise and you're out there. I'm an expressive arts therapist. I've worked in psychiatric hospitals with patients of all levels and addiction, dual diagnosis. So, and I always felt really good and I'm ahead and yeah, no, until I got to this program. This takes you very, very deep to a point where you're literally reborn. And my pain point was abandonment. And addiction is the thing I love to work with, hence relapsers is eternal relapsers is what I've coined it as, is what I'm working with. I aim to work with. So I don't know if that's
no, that's beautiful, Serena. And one of the yeah, look, I love that you have the background that you have, and I very much appreciate you, because you are a very deep thinker and you are very much involved in this spiritual work. This is real for you. This has always been real for you. And to say that in my program, it makes you go deep and you're reborn, that's like a real honor. Okay, that's a real honor.
I don't know if it was the timing, not to take away now, but whatever it was, this really, there was no going, well, the point is that if you want to do this program, you will have a beautiful rebirthing type of experience, because you want it.
Yeah.
And to get through it, you will be very grateful
Yeah.
for it too.
Yeah, well, and it was a rebirth for me as well. And Julie, I see you nodding your head back there. So is there anything that you want to say about that?
So yeah, like Zarina said, there is some sort of like rebirth of like awakening and knowledge to like this, I don't know, this different side of you, like maybe some stuff you didn't catch, like some pain points or some things you thought you healed from, or that you were focusing on, that was the main thing, but it wasn't. And you're like, wait, what's going on? Like you get tripped up a lot, like, wait a minute, and triggered. And so just as encouragement to just go with the flow. Because sometimes with me, there was some resistance there. And I'm like, nah, I would have caught that because I've been known to be a pretty self-aware person. So Crystal was like, so just just like melt into the process. Even if it sounds like totally like left field or just like out of this world, just immerse yourself in the process and you will be fine. Trust me, you're in good hands.
Yeah, you know, it's funny that you say that, Julie, because it is out of this world. One of the things that I've been charged to do is to take people into the 12th house, because that's where my strength is. My strength is 12th house work, and you know, prison, and I'm talking about the prison of the mind, by the way. I'm not talking about literal prison, but the prison of the mind is my realm. And one of the reasons why I keep shouting at you all to go deeper is because I know that that's where the work is. You can do all the work you want on the surface of a person's mind, and what are they going to do? They're going to go into that eternal relapse that Serena is talking about, okay? Part of the reason a person relapses is because of what's happening on the subconscious mind. It's not happening on the conscious mind. Serena knows that already. I mean, she obviously came in knowing that. So this is not going to be anything, you know, this is not new for her. But what is new for her is now needing to take accountability for all this knowledge she has, and then to bring it into a program and to give birth to it, right? Very good. Thank you. And I want to ask Julie, while we're here, will you tell us a little bit about, so Serena, you said that you worked in psychiatric medicine before, like can you tell us a little bit about your background?
This was a psychiatric facility. It has different units, adolescents and adults. It's a lockdown facility, so it's extreme cases. We had from acute schizophrenia and that, and then we also had people who attempted suicide or rage attacks, very extremely depressed. Somewhere we had a wing which was voluntary, when they fear for their own sanity, so to speak, or their life. So yes, that's what I did. And I did groups and individual sessions for with expressive arts therapy.
Yeah,
So,
that's
and also
exactly, yes.
assessments of patients, yes.
Fantastic, wonderful. And Julie, tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, so let's see. Currently, right now, I'm a graphic designer. So that was one of my passions that I pursued a few years back. But then I felt that there was something still missing. I'm like, something still missing. Like, I'm not following in my purpose. I'm not doing my purpose. And I think that's what troubles you. And you're like literally spiritually dead, or feel so disturbed. And you're like, I need to be doing something else, something different, making a difference. So that's when I decided to join Kristen. It's so funny because I've been wanting to be a life coach for, I don't know, maybe close to 7-8 years now. And I've looked at other programs, been on YouTube and seen different people. Oh, like we have a life coach university, we have this, we have that. And then like one day out of the blue, I seen one of her YouTube videos and I just instantly connected with her. And I'm like, she has the feminine and the masculine side. I'm like, oh, I love it. And so I literally saved her video in my life. And like a week and a half later, I literally signed up. Like, it's a wrap. So,
That's awesome.
So that's how I entered into her program. But a little bit more about me. I am a single mom of 4 girls. The oldest is 22, the youngest is 15. I think the hardest part for me in life was trying to heal while being a parent. That was a very difficult thing to do. Like trying to find yourself while you're trying to teach other little ones like how to be a productive human being in society. Super, super, that's traumatic in itself. So that was something that I kind of dealt with, and let's see, what else?
I think that's really important, Julie. I mean, even just that statement there is so powerful. Like, how are you, I don't have children. It's really easy for me to look at my mom and blame my mom for being the person that she is. Very easy. But and I know that this is what every parent is going through. And I know that particularly society right now is not particularly look, I'm talking shit right now, okay? But what I've seen is there's not a lot of space for a parent to make mistakes these days. Like kids are more educated and they're getting more, information from outside sources, which say that, okay, your parents are behaving in a certain way, that's not okay. And while I like hearing that kids are getting empowered and they're learning about emotional wellness and what they need, there's some areas where I've seen a lot of empathy for parents kind of go out the window, right? Where it's kind of like there's not a lot of forgiveness and kids are kind of speaking about their parents, and I'm like, wait, where's your compassion? I totally appreciate your authenticity. Like, your authenticity really is important, but at the same time, like, you got to give some space for your parents to grow as well. And so just hearing you say that, trying to be a parent and trying to heal yourself is really, really challenging. That, to me, I'm waiting for the person who wants to come in and take that on as the pain point and become the spiritual life coach that's going to help parents deal with that.
That's an awesome pain point. Also, too, because I had some judgments with my mom and the way she raised me. But when I became a parent, that's when the compassion came in for my mom and the forgiveness, and we healed our relationship because I'm like, okay, I get it now. I totally get it.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's funny that you said that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Julie. Now, hey, we've got someone sitting over here looking just as beautiful and fine and just patiently hanging out, taking it all in. And her name is Zania Taylor. So Zania, why don't you come on and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to become a spiritual life coach? What called you into becoming a spiritual life coach?
Well, it is so wonderful to see all of you beautiful ladies. You all have inspired me just off of this short session. Um, Everything that you all are saying, I feel, because I am a mother, and that's part of the reason what, got me going. And then, as Serena said, I work in lockdown facilities with youth. And I know how it is when their mental health has been a setback for them and they're cutting or they're harming themselves or others. So I understand how everybody is feeling, and being into the spirit realm. I grew up in the spirit realm. My grandmother is a defined and wonderful, strong-minded individual, and she has installed in me and all of my her grandchildren prayer, 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 and spirit, spirit, spirit. And so I've always had it, but now that I'm an older adult, I wanted to dive deeper into my life because I wanted to help kids. I noticed that that is a passion and a calling on my life, is to help young people. Because have heard over the years working with young people with mental and behavioral health. Why are you working with those kids? Oh, kids are so hard. So many complaints about our young people. And I guess I'm the go-to person. And so when I had to pray about it first. I said I wanted to do something different with my life. I want to have a bigger purpose in my life. And I started researching spiritual life coaches because I just wanted something spiritual in my life.
Yeah.
And Crystal Lynn's beautiful voice just kept ringing in my ear. It was it was just like, you know how you just ponder on something and you're pondering and pondering. It was just your voice. It's like your voice. It's not. It's mellow. It's just something you just want to hear.
Oh, that's so nice, Ania. Thank you so much. You know, y'all know how it is when you hear your own voice and you're like, ugh, who is that? Like, yeah, it sounds very different inside my head, but thank you so much. I'm glad you like that projection.
Well, I needed it. I've noticed, like Julia said, the feminine and the masculine, and I needed both at one time. I researched other coaches, and they didn't connect with me.
Mhm.
And you connected with me, and in a short period of time, I just felt it. And I love it, and I need it, and I want more of it.
I really appreciate that, Zania. Thank you so much. Thank you. So look, I want to ask you all, I want to just throw some questions out there. And I know that I want to, again, I want to thank you all for taking the time to come here, pondering, your work in the program. And again, the thing that's really important to me is the thing that's important for me as the creator of this program is that, and a couple of you have mentioned it, it's that divine feminine and that divine masculine coming together into a system that works, okay? And you all know that there's a lot of masculine in the program, okay? There are a lot of forms, there are a lot of worksheets, there's a lot of timelines, there's a lot of, fill this out and let's get this done, and then we're going to get that done, and then you got to think about this concept, and then you got to do that concept. That's all in the realm of the masculine. What the question that I want to ask you all is, I want you all to talk about your feminine, because all of you have your own relationship with the feminine. And when I say the feminine, I'm talking about spirituality, creativity, right? Intuition, things like that. And just the ability to channel, the ability to download, the spiritual tools that you all own within yourself or that you're passionate about. Would any of you mind talking about like your magical tools and how you are using them as you're building your program? Please go right ahead, Serena.
Again, why isn't everybody
That's
not
okay.
first again? This is difficult for me to elaborate on, but I want to touch on what you said, the masculine, the feminine. I have, yes, a very feminine side, and I have a very strong masculine. The interesting thing is that I've never really done anything, built a business, built something that this is where, let's see, how do I say this best? This is where my biggest challenge has been thus far. I'm still quite at the beginning of the program, but it really shows its intensity already and what it will bring. And I doubted myself. This imposter would come in saying, who do you think you are? What do you think you're going to build? You've done this and traveled the world. been, have had many amazing jobs, but this is different. And the format and the program, the brilliant program that Crystalline brings is, it's really, I'm so impressed. It's, I was gonna say unsurpassable, I can't think of the word, but it really shows how, even if you've never done, built a company of your own, Crystalline will take you there. I'm just beginning to see how, okay, relax. This is, you are going to do that spiritual thing through a business because of this program. It's incredibly set up. Every step of the way takes you to a place further into that place. And you begin to see even how, even though you don't know, trust it. You get to the place where you trust it because it's taking you there.
Yeah.
As far as the masculine, feminine tools
Yeah.
that we bring, what I have found with Crystalline is that my masculine, although it's not in the business building, wants in my mind, wants to so much take over my feminine when I'm trying to build something. And I'm in the 8th house, so so I'm always like, take me, like literally I am jealous of the 12th house. So with your talent, with your beauty in the spirit world, in the spirit realm, you literally help me walk there so that both can dance in a balanced level. I hope I made sense with this.
It makes perfectly good sense to me, because I think that to a degree, many of us are, we are a victim of our masculine mind. It's the masculine self that asks the questions, right? Spirit gives you a download, the feminine gives you a download, and the masculine is like, yeah, but how are we going to do that? When are we going to do that? Who's going to do that? Why would they do that? Like blah 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 blah. Right? That's super masculine, and there needs to be a balance between the masculine and the feminine. And you're right, Serena, is as feminine as you are, as intuitive as you are, as connected to the higher realms as you are. It's the same thing for Julie. It's the same thing for Zania. It's the exact same thing for all of us in this program, all highly connected to God, to source, to the feminine, okay? But the issue is that the thinking, egoic, rational self doesn't trust it. And it's limited by its own processes, and it doesn't realize that, hey, there's life outside your processes. Like I know that this is the way you want to do it, but there's another way for things to happen, right?
Much bigger life.
Right, exactly. And so for me, as the creator of this program, the thing that I've learned from my own mistakes is that I have been too feminine and ineffective, okay? Too feminine, too ineffective, not following through, not knowing what steps to take, getting confused because, and then going off to do something else so that I can, at least have some kind of a win, but not actually accomplishing the thing that I want to accomplish, right? This is a problem. It's hard to build in that way. So I wanted the program to be like, okay, look, here are the steps. This is the masculine. Here are the steps. These are the things you have to do. Now, bring your feminine in there and let her go wild, okay? But remember that we need to bring it back into completion, right? We have to get done. We can't stay on this all day. We have to make it reasonable, and it needs to be contained enough, like more like an atom, where it's small but dense, right? So instead of doing 6 pain points, we're going to do 1 pain point. We're going to make it really powerful though, right? So those things are really important to me. The ability to bring in the feminine, have it supported by the masculine, but as Serena said, not let the masculine dominate and choke the feminine. right? Because that's what tends to happen in us very often. Thank you for that, Serena. Let me ask you all another question. Let's see, I have a list of questions here. I have a list of questions. Hold on. Julie, did you send me the list of questions that you are going to, that you worked through?
I did, and I think I've answered 2 out of the 3.
That's cool. All right, let me find your list. Or actually, Julie, why don't you just tell us what your question is, and why don't you pose the question, pose it for yourself, you give the answer, and then let the other ladies share their input if they've got some input. How about that?
I don't know, because we kind of, like, the third question was, what are some of the things you like about working with Crystal? So I think we've kind of, unless y'all just want to just shower her with this compliment, more compliments.
Don't do that. Crystal Lynn will feel very awkward about that. That would be very weird. No, thank you though. I appreciate that. Okay, so that was one of your questions, and then what was another?
Yeah, the other one was, why did you want to become a spiritual life coach? And the other one was, who are you and what kind of work, were you doing before the program? So I think I've kind of answered all of those. So if you want to ask a question, I'll answer it for you.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out to everyone. I just wanted to make sure that I covered the stuff that you all had worked on, but I want to throw out some questions that I'm kind of interested in, and let's see. So the question that I was kind of getting to with that last question that I asked about your magical tools. My question is, what are some of the magical tools that you are going to, like, how are you going to incorporate your magical tools into your program? So for me, when I became a spiritual life coach, look, and I do use them, but I was like, I'm going to read tarot cards. I'm going to be doing Reiki healing for my people. I'm going to tune in and do angelic healing. I'm going to do some quantum healing, and I'm going to be a life coach, and I'm going to use astrology, right? So, and the fact of the matter is, I use all of those things in my healing sessions. So my question for you is, like, what kind of woo-woo do you want to incorporate with your practical coaching? Go ahead, Julie.
Okay. So for me, so in the process of my pain points are rejection, abandonment, low self-worth. So what helped me with my low self-worth was studying my birth chart. So once I found out who I was, then I was able to move forward in, self-worth. So I want to incorporate astrology, some astrology in my work, because I think it helps you understand yourself better, so you can be on that journey of self-healing. Because some of the things that I thought, like, that people would say, well, you don't need to be like that, and this and that. And I'm like, okay, you're offended. But then when you study your birth chart, you're like, wait a minute, this is my energy, like, this is me, and it may be what some people consider negative, okay, whatever, but, and you may need to work on it a little bit, but at least you're self-aware and you know about it. So that's something that I want to incorporate. But also too, Crystal, when I learned in your program, like that whole thing of like how to feel into your body, and you do those exercises with like, how does it feel in your body? Where is it located? That right there kind of helped me understand intuition more.
Yeah.
And so that too will help you, because I have like masculine energy. And it kind of flip-flops for me, like where I need to be feminine, I'm masculine, where I need to be masculine, feminine. So like masculine and feminine are always fighting. So me learning how to operate more in my feminine was a process that she incorporated that helped me fall into my feminine energy, because it was more, your intuition is more like how you feel in your body. Mm-hmm. And so that strengthens your feminine energy when you understand, and like the energy that's flowing through your body. And before, I think I used to ignore it, but now when it comes, I'm embracing it, and I'm like, okay, I can feel in my body, and I'm receptive to my intuition, and I feel like it's coming more now to me because I'm accepting it and embracing it.
Yeah, wow, that's really, really beautiful. And I thank you for sharing that, Julie, because look, and this is you're gonna find this as well as you're doing your work, your coaching. You kind of, like, I know that I know when I'm doing certain things. Like, I know that when I'm asking you to feel your feelings, I know that that's helping you be more connected to yourself. But kind of like, I didn't quite realize that I was kind of really working with helping you connect more to the divine feminine. Like, even though of course I know that, but hearing you say it, like, gives me another understanding of the depth of what we do, and why, and you all are going to be teaching your clients how to feel their feelings too, right? We're creating a chain of self-worth that comes through us, that originates with us as individuals. I started feeling my feelings. I taught it to Julie. Julie started feeling her feelings. She taught it to blah, 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 right? To me, this is really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else going to got some magical tools they want to use in their program? Serena. Wait, you're muted.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not far ahead in the program that we have worked on various things. I do agree with Julie on the physical sensations of where we go with the pain point. That's very, very important. So I plan to integrate shadow work. I probably will coin it differently, building the program. Yeah, there'll be a slightly different process. Tarot, it's something that came in my life in a way, probably through you, a long time ago, that I have found Spirit speaks to me so loud and directly through the tarot. So somehow, I don't know, because we'll work into that, how we'll put it into the program. It does feel a little scary, seeing from what I do, that it's so psychoanalytical. So my work will be an integration of psychology, astrology, human design, and tarot. The astrology and human design, for me, it has become such an obvious tool that I wonder how come it is not taught in schools as a mandatory, so that we get to know ourselves, our character traits that are innate from the get. I want to excuse myself. My bird is getting a little upset in the background. Wants to play with me.
He's so cute. Can he
So,
come and join us? I love it when he makes
well,
this.
I would have to get up and go get him. He's, I can see he's trying to come. He doesn't know what to do. He's being polite. Well,
Oh,
sort of. But you know what? Excuse me for a second, because
that's okay. Go ahead. Zania, do you have any magical tools that you are that you're working with that you would like to integrate? Oh, there he is. Hey, buddy. Oh,
that's a line on the shoulder right now.
he is such a cutie pie. He's a scene stealer. He comes in and
Yeah.
always makes me look at him, and he's just such a beautiful little friend.
Yeah, he's quite funny.
Yes. How did he enjoy the trip to Arizona?
He's
Did he fly?
yeah, a little bit. So yeah, the doors are not, he doesn't, but yeah, he loves Sedona. He's quite the trooper with the trip and everything. So yeah.
What a cutie pie. Thanks for sharing him, Serena. That's wonderful.
Yeah, sorry. Should I continue? I don't remember where.
I kind of got distracted too. And so let me.
Yeah, I apologize about that. Yeah, I was just saying about the tarot and astrology. Yeah, and human design. There are certain things about ourselves that are just innate. And astrology explains it to a level. People think it's that, in vogue, that little excerpt. It's a science. It used to be only for kings.
Yeah.
And then through times, it just became this, women got burnt alive, or men were thought of as crazy for speaking such truths. And so, yes, I will be using that and human design both, because I have even noticed with my patients at the hospital. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's funny. At the hospital, that even if they didn't know, I knew I did their chart,
Yeah.
because some people don't care much for astrology.
Sure.
We would have a session, and I would say something, probably through me, and through looking at their charts and human design. And they would say, I have seen so many therapists. No one ever understood this. No one ever said that. So it is just through the little tools. You put the analysis of biopsychosocial and then put the astrology into a whole person's realm. And it's unbelievable what comes up.
I mean,
So
I'm blown away by it. And I love the fact that
Yeah.
Julie's integrated it into her program. And again, it's not like you have to be an astrologer in order to use astrology. You just have to, as I always say, you need to stay in your lane and use it the way that you use it. Help your people use it the way that it can help them. Okay. And so I love that you're saying that, and I love that Julie has incorporated astrology. I've used it forever. It's come with me everywhere. Even as even in the certification program, I have you all, request your charts, then I run your chart so that you can get it. So just as Julie said, so that you can know yourself, right? Because knowing yourself is going to help you understand your weak spots, your strengths. It's going to help you understand your soul's calling. So I love that you all are integrating this to the degree that you can. And last thing, Serena, just as you said about human design, I don't know a lot about human design, but I've heard a lot of people talking about it, and a lot of people are enjoying it as a way to help them understand themselves and to understand other people. And so, integrating that as a part of your coaching practice, I think is a wonderful, wonderful idea. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you. And so, Zinnia, I was going to ask you, do you have any spiritual or magical tools that you'd like to integrate with your coaching?
I wouldn't say I have any magical tools per se. I've just been trying to, like we spoke about, laying everything out. I've been doing that and creating different tactics and trying to balance everything, so I don't have anything I want to integrate specifically. I'm just using everything that I possibly can. Um, just I've been reading a lot of books, and so a lot of anger management and triggers, and things of that nature, especially with youth. It's different talking to younger people than what it is with adults, because the way that you explain it to an adult is not going to be the way you explain it to a kid. So I've been trying to use different terminology on how to get through to them. So I would say that's something unique that I have to learn and that I'm working on.
Yeah, beautiful. I was talking to Monica yesterday, and I hope Monica comes and joins us on the call. I put the link in, but she said something that was really powerful yesterday. And she said, I have the ability to read a book and then create a program from it, right? And to me, that is a really special gift. That is a gift. That is a magical gift. And I think that a lot of us have the ability to do that, but we don't necessarily know that we have that ability until we try, right? And it doesn't have to be, oh, I read this book. I'm now going to do this. It can be I read an article, or I listened to an audiobook, or I watched a movie. Like, you all hear me talking all the time about the Matrix movie, and I watched that movie and I'm like, oh, this is happening, this is happening, this is happening, that's happening. That is all divine feminine energy processing, right? Picking out the themes, looking at the connections between things. This is all like divine feminine downloads coming through, okay? So what I'm hearing, and what this is reminding me of, is the opportunity that we all have to, like Zania, to take an anger management book and to look at each chapter and say, what did I learn from this chapter? Or what do I want to teach my client from these chapters, right? All of those, that is a super powerful thing. Or even to say, hey, this is a great book on anger management. I'm going to incorporate it in my program so that as a part of going through my curriculum, we're going to all read this book, and these are the exercises that are going to help you integrate what you learned from the reading, right? I personally love books where the author gives us exercises to integrate what we've learned, what they've just taught us, right? And in my opinion, I bet you anything, the first book I write, if I ever get around to actually writing a full-blown published book, that book is going to be partially about explaining something and then creating exercises in it. It's, you know, because I'm already in workbook mode. I've created tons of ebooks and workbooks, but I think that when I publish a book, I'm just gonna make it easy on myself and do it in that format. Now, all of this is to say that when you all are thinking about, well, what gifts do I have? What gifts am I bringing to the table? One of the things that Zania, you have that's very, very powerful, and others in the group have commented on, when you're there and when you're not there, it's this incredible enthusiasm and this incredible, like, raw honesty. And this is a magical gift that we take for granted, okay? We take it for granted that we have the ability to walk into a place, be really, really present, to say powerful words, or to draw people in, or to give so much love and so much energy and so much appreciation. Like, that in and of itself is a magical gift, you know? So just a reminder for everyone that you all have these things that I don't want you to take for granted, you know? Yeah. Let's see, another question. And I'm gonna send it, I'm gonna ask you all this question, and then I'm gonna check on Connie, because Connie tried to sign in, but I think the internet wasn't working because she wasn't able to get in all the way. Here's a question that I have for you. Since starting this program, how have you grown, changed, or transformed? Or what did you discover about yourself? Let me stop. Let me ask one question. Let me ask the one question, okay? The one question I want to ask is, how have you changed since starting the program? Like, what has changed about you since starting in the program? And whoever wants to answer that can please feel free to answer.
I would love to start.
Please, Zania.
My presence has changed. The way that I communicate has changed. My either family or friends, my environment has changed. Me standing up and focusing and being determined has changed. Taking accountability for anything because I want to be more present in everything the way that I move, the way that I talk, the people that I surround myself. So just I have to make sure I stay focused in how I present myself. That has changed.
Yeah, I love that. I love that, Zania. I'm so glad that that change, that number one, that's an awesome change. And I can see that change in you as well. You came into the program with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of really big ideas, yeah? And what I see you doing is stepping into this seriousness, stepping into the power of what it is you really want to create. And I see you getting grounded. I see you getting organized. I see you working deeply. I see you not settling for something that isn't right. Like, this doesn't feel right, like this isn't, I was working with this. You said that. You said, I was working with this, and I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I'm gonna have to go back in and I'm gonna have to redo it. In my opinion, that is beautiful. That is beautiful and wise and powerful. Thank you for sharing that. So I want to say hi to our two newcomers. Okay, we have Monica, who is here. Hey, Monica.
Hi, hello, hi everybody.
And we have Connie. Connie just literally just signed up. Connie did the challenge last week, and Connie was there every day for the challenge. And she's like, look, I am discovering something. And Connie just enrolled yesterday. We just did her orientation today. And so she's sitting down working through the material. And how are you doing with it, Connie?
Most excellent. It's wonderful.
I'm so glad. Thank you so much. It's great to have you. And thanks for coming on the call too. It's awesome. Yeah. And Monica, I'm so happy to see you here. Monica has been here every day for the challenge as well. Monica's actually been working with me in the League of Badass Butterflies for the last several months, right? Just kind of following along with what I'm doing. Monica is already a spiritual life coach, working primarily with parents, right? Right? Isn't that your primary thing, parenting?
Yes, that was my primary thing, but during the pandemic, my work organically steered towards women empowerment.
Okay.
Or women. I do work with some men too, usually their husbands, because they send them, they have no choice but to come to me.
Yeah.
But I find it hard. I find it very difficult in my community to find parents to coach. The problem is there, but for them to be coached in that capacity is really, really hard, because they don't want to, they know the problems, they know there's problems, but they don't want to accept that parenting is a problem.
So I think I hear you saying that they are having trouble accepting their responsibility, like their part, that they might be part of the problem, and their parenting skills.
Yes. I mean, eventually it's all about how they were parenting. Like, eventually it's all about their issues, which is playing out, that are not resolved, so they're playing out in parenting.
Yeah.
But just in order to stay with your question, that in what capacity am I coaching? Even though I have specialized in parent coaching, I have found it less challenging to find clients in life coaching as against to find clients to enroll in parent coaching, because that's a challenge.
Yeah, sure. Understood. Very good. Thank you so much, Monica, for participating. So, ladies, what we're doing right now is these Serena, Julie, and Zania are currently enrolled in my program, and they are all working to become spiritual life coaches. And I wanted to invite them here to talk about because they're all doing the work. And look, my point, my whole reason for even doing this is to let everyone know that becoming a spiritual life coach is a big deal. It's a big deal because it's a big decision to make for yourself. It's a decision that is about becoming an independent woman who is earning her own money and determining her own destiny in that way. It's also, you're following your soul. There's nobody here who didn't get a calling from their soul that says, hey, I want to, like, no one is coming into life coaching for the money. Like, oh, this is going to be a great paying job. Like, oh, I'm going to make big bucks. Like, yeah, I'm going to be a business owner big time. Like, that is not what we're doing with spiritual life coaching. Okay. And I'm not saying that that's not possible. You can certainly become a millionaire as a spiritual life coach. Absolutely. But that's not what anybody came into this for. Okay. And the point that I'm making, and that's really important for me to understand, to help you understand, is that when spirit calls you to help other people on a deep level, it's not just about being called to help people with a little sprinkling, a little fairy dust, okay? A little fairy dust. That is fine, but being a life coach is not fairy dust. Being a life coach is about diving deep into the things that you've heard these ladies talking about. Serena's talking about addiction and being a relapser. This is life or death for people. This is life or death for an addict, okay? Having someone who can talk to them, who can understand them, this is life or death. For Julie, she's working with issues of rejection, abandonment, and self-worth. If you are dealing with fears of rejection, if you are suffering from fears of abandonment, there is no way you have the self-worth to be able to go into a relationship that is going to uplift you. You're not going to go for a job that you want. You're not going to live your fullest life. So life coaching is about helping people step out of the comfort of their pain, because their comfort is a pain. Okay, like we actually feel comfortable in worthlessness. We feel comfortable in relapsing. We feel comfortable in our anger. And that's where Zania is working right now. Zania is at a point where she's still discovering exactly what it is, how exactly she's going to help people. But the fact is she knows anger is an issue for people, right? And how can you move forward with good health, with robust relationships? How can you be a great parent and love love and nurture your children, love and nurture your partner at the level that you want to, when anger is a barrier to what's actually in your heart? Okay. When you take on the role of life coach so that you can actually break through that barrier and help a woman be a better mother, help a man be a better father, help a person be a better whatever it is they want to be, an artist, okay, to help them get off of the drugs, to help them stop their addiction, to help them stop escaping from the feelings that they're feeling inside, you are doing God's work. What else is higher than helping a person be a better person? Nothing is higher. So my point is that these ladies are not perfect, but what they are doing that is perfect is they are doing the work, right? They are perfectly dedicated to doing the work. They are showing up. They are reading, they are listening, they are trying, they're getting their questions answered. They are doing all these things, okay? So here's a question I have for you. Zania, you want to say something?
Yes, I was just wanting to say that, yes, in your program, we have shed, I know I have shed some tears. I had to cry my way through it. And then we had some joyful moments. We laughed.
Yeah.
And, we just had so many ups and downs, but we all supported each other.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make that statement.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's true. I mean, there's a lot of look, Zinnia, the tears are only just starting. I got to be honest with you. Okay, we got to get through stuff. All right, we got some hard stuff. Look at Julie. Julie knows the tears. We only scratching the surface of the tears so far. Serena knows, right? It's true, because this is not easy work. But look, birthing a baby is not easy work, right? Giving birth to a baby, like even just that process of developing the baby in your womb, it's easy for your body to do it because it's natural. It knows what to do. You just let it go, right? Feminine and masculine working together. But that birthing process is really about the mom and the baby in an engagement. Well, here you are. Julie's at that right now because she's the furthest along of the folks who are on the call right now. But the fact is that her baby's in the birth canal. And so she is having to, she's having to listen, she's having to relax, she's having to move, she's having to shift, she's having to breathe and get this out so that she can actually, put it out there, get it out so that she can do her work. All right. So again, Zinnia, I'm just saying the tears have only just begun because we got some things that we need to cover. All right. So I have another question, and I want to kind of start wrapping things up, and I want to give an opportunity to both Monica and Akani to ask you all some questions, okay? But the question I want to ask you all about, because I think that this is a really important thing, and Zinnia has touched on it with her last comment. What do you all think about the group dynamic, okay? Because there are different aspects to this program. There is the super kaleidoscope sessions where everybody comes together, and those are optional sessions. We have them there several times a week, but you can come to those to get extra help, okay? But then we also have the regular every week session. You meet every week with your group on those sessions, and then there are also some private one-on-one sessions. So if you all would like to talk to any of those, and this is again specifically for Zinnia, Julie, or Serena, if you all want to talk to your experience with any of those, please share with us your experience on that. Julie.
Okay. So my program, initially, Crystal was like, yeah, you gotta have like all these people on the call and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, I just want to work with one person. Like I'm super intimate. And so I like working one-on-one with people. But another dynamic is that I actually enjoy the group sessions. Why? Because I love like extracting like ideas and creativity from others. Like I love like that whole collaboration type of thing. Where like Serena, you like inspire me. You're so creative with your words and like your expression. You're very expressive, and you just like sometimes the reason why I let you answer first is because in some ways like you inspire me to like, oh, it's like things start popping up because at first it's like nothing is there, and then when you speak, it's like, oh yeah. So just be encouraged. If you go first, it's because you're very inspired.
Yeah, I agree. Look, Serena always comes with deep, meaningful questions. And sometimes she makes me so mad because she's asking a question she should be asking, and it means to me that I should have answered it before she asked it. Like she's like in this situation where I'm like, I really want my program to be perfect. And then she comes up with something that's so meaningful and so inspiring. And I'm like, holy mackerel, you mean we can even go deeper than what we've done? You mean it can even go better? Okay, I'm gonna take that challenge on. So go on, Serena. Yes, but thank you, Julie, for that input. Go ahead, Serena.
Well, thank you. That's where the mic drop. I think I'll just leave the room now. All right, to stay on point, the group dynamic. I'm also, I excel at one-on-one. So I was a little bit worried about the group dynamic. And yes, listening to getting to know other women has been quite beautiful. We get to model also from each other. So it's really, that's been, it helps. It just gives so much more. I've also ended up, by way of spirit, ended up finding an accountability partner in the group. So we meet, if we can, 5 times a week, and we just sit and do the work. So that for me has been quite the experience. Now I'm feeling pressured and saying something really deep.
You have to live up to your own magic, right? You have to live up to your own.
No, I won't do that. In fact, that's one of the things that authenticity is something that came through for me even louder in this program. I had to drop some things that I thought were me and they were not, which is quite amazing. And yeah, and it's through the work and it's through you. You know, you're all modeling and you're calling me out. So yeah, don't expect to have like, you know, a walk through the park. This is just, you know, we're just going to draw and create something magical with flowers. Now, this is hardcore work. If you want the results, it's got to go deep. You will go deep. And as I said much earlier in the call, you will be reborn. You will awaken to parts of yourself that you actually really, really need to do this, to birth this type of business and to coach somebody else. There's no way you can coach somebody else unless you yourself really know that you can take your own life from point A to point Z, not even B. Yes. So, and Kirsten does make you do that. There's no ifs and buts around it. So.
Yeah, this is really important, and that's a really important statement, Selena. As a life coach, it's not about being perfect, right? It's not about being perfect before you help other people. It's about being perfectly committed to doing whatever work you need to do to be in the moment, right? So I'm in no way a perfect human being, but what I will do is shadow work. I will sit down and meditate. I will write. I will pray. I will get on my hands and knees. I will, I will do the work to move me to the next step. Okay, that's all you have to do. We're not trying to get you. We're not trying to get you to be a perfect person. We're just wanting you to be devoted and committed to doing your best for your soul, to doing your best for your soul, which is why when you come into my program, I cannot let you get away with being superficial. I cannot let you get away with making cliches. I cannot let you get away with quoting, things that you've read. I'm like, okay, you read that, but what does that even mean? Where did that even come from? If you're going to quote it, if it's going to come out of your mouth, do the research so that it becomes your own, right? Not Wayne Dyer's or, Louise Hayes or whoever you're quoting, right? So my point is that your soul, and here's the thing to understand about your business. Your business is meant to be eternal. It is meant to go on even after you pass on. Like someone can step in and run your business that you have trained. You pass it on to your children, or you pass it on to your followers, someone who is there to support you as you have developed your program and it's growing and growing and growing and reaching more and more people. Like there's no reason for your program to ever end. So if you think about your program as something that is eternal, potentially eternal, well, you want the foundation for your business to be really solid. And I am about helping you create a solid foundation, which means that everything that's in the program, all the 40 weeks of content, is about establishing a solid foundation. I make you all write so much writing. Why? Because when you write, it helps you learn. You write and it becomes your own. If you write, you research, you go deeper, right? So that when you are creating the first pillar of your business, you are creating it not on sand, you know, but in solid ground, right? You're plunging your post deep into the soil, into the earth, and it's protected. When you do this kind of solid work, nobody can take that away from you. The recession cannot take away a solid business. An earthquake, a natural disaster cannot take away a solid business. A solid business might have to move its location because of, you know, a fire or whatever, but the business itself is still intact, okay? So this is why I'm always, number one, the curriculum is the way it is because it's curriculum that is giving you everything you need to have a solid business that is going to be around for years. And yes, you're going to have to build upon what I'm giving you, but what I'm giving you is going to help you. It's going to move you forward with confidence and with a great reputation, with the reputation of being a professional who has earned her chops, who has earned her badass butterfly wings. Okay. Awesome. Please go ahead, Serena.
I just wanted to say, because you're speaking of your curriculum, I wanted to say I did a master's online in psychology, and that curriculum, you know, it tells you this is what you're going to do. Go to the book. Crystalline is basically the books. She writes and writes and writes and explains the exercises, and it's all there. It's not just a few little pages and then figure it out. There are videos, there is extensive writings, there are all the transcripts to the videos if you prefer. I mean, it's so rich. I am utterly impressed with her work. As a solo woman running and creating her own business. I mean, it's amazing. It's unbelievable what you get. And this, she has not paid me. I want to just say this to say yeah.
I would like to say her books, what you said, Serena, her books, because I went to school too and tried to take on psychology and sociology and all of those ologies, and which is fine. I gained a lot of knowledge from it, but Crystal Lynn's books, it's like she's talking through them, but on the, you know, the psychology and sociology or whatnot, it's like, it's just basic knowledge. But I felt with your curriculum, it was like spiritual knowledge. I felt it through my spirit. And so I was able to obtain everything that you written out and that you have. I can tell that it took time over time and revamping and restructuring. I felt it. And in the other books, it was just like, you know, tacked on things accumulated after several people had their input on it. But with your curriculum, it was like you felt all of you in it. And
Yeah.
that's what helped me.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that makes sense, Zania. Yeah, I'm glad that it resonates with you.
And the about the groupings, I love the groupings. I started out with a different set of ladies than what I have now.
Yeah.
I think I might have a few now, but whichever way it went, I felt honored that I can get a perspective from everyone, because everyone, like you said, are on different paths of life, different ages, been through different trials and tribulations. And that's what helped me with the grouping.
Yeah. Zania, thank you so much for that. That's really good feedback about the groups, especially because I think that learning from one another is really important, especially in this particular type of work. And you know, it's just great energy. I don't know what it is about this program, but everybody in this program just shows up with just sweetness and light. We don't have a shitty person in the bunch. We don't have a shitty personality in the bunch. I ain't even lying. Like I'm not even, I think shitty people are afraid of me because they be keeping their distance, that is for sure. Okay. But you all know, you see everybody in that group, there's so much sweetness and kindness and smart, you know, like really like spiritual and smart and really, really lovely. So thank you for that. And, you know, thank you all for contributing that. But also, Zania, when you said, you know, when you're listening to my stuff or you're reading, you know, reading all the writing that I've done, my God, sometimes I look at my stuff and I'm like so embarrassed because I'm like, seriously, like, do I have to like, Monica, I'm sorry that you have to go. Monica, did you have a question you wanted to ask the ladies?
No, I think it's great. I've been doing the work, and you know, my biggest struggle has been to come up with my pain point, because
Yeah.
that's something, there are so many, and but I want to come up with a solid pain point. I
Yeah.
just feel that there has been like an undercurrent of unworthiness throughout all my pain points. But if I have an opportunity to ask a question, that would be that, isn't that not just the premise of being a woman, like in a patriarchy?
Pain,
Unworthiness,
unworthiness. Okay. Um,
isn't that going to be everybody? Like, is that like my unique pain point? Like, isn't that?
No, it isn't.
Go ahead.
I
Sid.
mean, yeah, I will say this because I don't feel unworthy. I have never felt unworthy. I have felt misunderstood. I have felt rejected. I have felt abandoned. I fear these things. For some reason, something was empowered, given perhaps from my dad, who died when I was very young, well, a teenager, but something has never, I will not allow anyone to step over me, it just won't happen. Somebody lies to me, I walk away. Somebody shows up late, let's say in my earlier years, as a relationship it's done. I will stand up for injustice wherever I can, because I'm very fragile. So I know what I can handle and cannot. But as far as unworthiness, I think is very unique to certain people. And there's a lot of it, a lot.
Yeah.
However, it's not for everyone. So I just wanted to say that I feel very blessed, perhaps privileged, to have had such an example given to me, because it has served me. But don't think that because I own that, I have not been tried and stepped on to the point where I had to bring lawyers in. Corporations will be threatened by a woman that shows up with her power. So I'm not a corporation person. I got cancer for being in a corporate environment. I didn't know. I fought it. I won the cancer. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
wonderful response, Serena. Thank you. And I, you know, it's funny. You know when someone's lying, right? And when Serena says, like, I know my worth, you know she's not lying, right? You can feel that. Serena does not have issues with unworthiness. You can feel that, right? And so, Monica, just to kind of, you know, your question is like, isn't unworthiness kind of like just what everybody is kind of suffering? And no, as Serena said, but also we want your pain point to be based on something that is a little bit, that moves more specifically. You start with unworthiness and then you move more specifically toward the thing that is correct for you and for what you want to work with. As Serena beautifully said, she has felt mistaken right? Can you, or misunderstood, I'm sorry, misunderstood. You can totally see where like somebody who feels misunderstood might equate that and feel unworthy, right? Unworthiness and misunderstood. But for Serena, it's not unworthiness and being misunderstood, you know, it's something else. So I hope that's helpful.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Serena. Yes, I'm going to do some more work on that. It's just been constantly on the back of my mind, and it helps having my mentor at home. So we've been tossing ideas, and she knows everything about my life, which is fantastic.
Yeah,
So
I don't want to dismiss the fact that I don't know your clientele, but culturally, there depends which part of the world. Of course, certain women are oppressed in certain, most women in certain countries. So that comes with the culture. It is part of what makes that culture, sadly, because it's not truth. So
yeah.
that might be part of the reason why you may have thought that it makes sense, completely makes sense. And that's why I said I feel privileged, because it is a gift to have that part in me.
Absolutely.
of course,
Beautiful, Serena.
absolutely. All right. Thank you, ladies. I have to go, but thank you for this.
See you tomorrow, Monica.
I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you all so much. And we have Connie here. Let's welcome Connie. She's our newest enrollee. She just signed up today. She's in, y'all. Woo, Connie! Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a privilege to be here with you, ladies.
Yeah, thank you. So, Connie, these are students who have been in the program anywhere from 8 months, 6 months, 4 months. Yeah. If you have any questions for them, feel free, or for me, of course, feel free to ask. Is there anything in particular that you'd like to know about this journey that's coming along?
Well, everything seems really straightforward and laid out, but was there anything unexpected that came up?
Something that you didn't expect. Curveball. Crystalline threw you a curveball. Julie.
Yeah, when you do your shadow work, it's gonna be some stuff. It's gonna be unexpected. So I'm just brace yourself. Okay. Brace yourself, but just literally just melt into the process. All I can tell you is just rest in it, melt in it, trust it. Even if it's, like I said, if it's not, it sounds like totally left field. That doesn't sound like me. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't say that. Blah blah blah. Crystal literally, like, I said something in a past video, and she was like, "No, you said that," and I'm like, "No, I didn't." And she's like, "Let's run it back." And so she ran the video back, and I said it, and I was like, "Oh, that." So I had to accountability, because I'm big on accountability. So just rest in the process is all I can say.
Okay.
Julie, I forgot about that. But
yes, she was like, "Yes, you did."
Wait, that was a
never say that.
That was a big wake up, though, wasn't it? Like there was a shadow that you awoke to, and you were like, "Dang!" Like, "Oh my God!" And then the thing is, I don't think you've ever gone back. I think that you recognized that, made the correction, and like, "Fuck that! That's not gonna be who I am."
Oh,
I think you scared the shit out of your own shadow.
Oh yeah, I'm big on shadow work. Big on shadow work, and a lot of people either like me or people either love me or hate me, because I'm a straight shooter, and people don't come to me unless they want to hear the truth. And I'm like, well, you gotta face it, because you're gonna keep going through this cycle over and over again. And so shadow work is super important, especially in this field. It is like the foundation of it all, is that shadow work. You gotta deal with those shadows. So yeah.
No, it's beautiful. Thank you for that. That's great. It is a curveball. It throws you curveballs.
Yes, Connie, I could say for me, I didn't think that two things. Crystal Lynn was going to be so tough. I knew it was going to come, but she's so she's so balanced. I can say that because it was coming, but I wasn't expecting it because she had said something so direct. And I was like, okay, I felt like a kid again, but I was like, okay, I needed that. Okay, thank you. And then it was like a wake up call. And then it made me draw to her even closer because I started understanding the true value of myself and my worth and what I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I can say it was a shock that she came in slow and loving, which is good. And then out of nowhere, she was like, no, deeper. I mean, just everything. She just threw it all in the mix and in the pot. And then it was just like an explosion. And I was like, okay, I need more of it. So that was for me.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Zania, because look, I will not tolerate you treating yourself small. I will not, ever. I'm not going to be that person who coddles you and feeds you a fib. I'm going to hold you to the highest standards because I know you can get there. Okay. I'm reasonable. Okay. I'm reasonable. I'm not expecting you to go from 0 to 60, you know, but we're going to go in some real, and I'm going to hold you to your highest self. That's all I'm going to do. You know, I'm going to hold you to your highest self. That's my job. That's awesome, man.
The surgeon right here. Crystal's the surgeon. She
Aw,
gets deep. She'll cut deep. She gets deep. She cuts deep. She's gonna get down in there now.
I'm gonna
But
get
be
in there.
prepared. Brace yourself.
I'm gonna get in there.
I don't want to scare you, but it's just trust it. You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Connie can handle it. There's not been anybody who couldn't handle it, you know? And the thing is, you know, I'm very direct, right? Because I hold that I've got a lot of Mars in me. I have Mars and Aries, just in case anybody wanted to know my astrology. So Mars and Aries makes me very direct. It makes me know, Mars is extremely intuitive, so it makes me know right from wrong, like instantly. And there are times when there's a time and a place for weakness, and most of the time there's not a place for weakness when it comes to advocating for your inner child and for your soul. So whenever your soul is trying to move you forward and your egoic self is holding you back, that's when I'm going to be like, look, I'm going right past your ego. I'm just going to talk to your soul. And it can feel uncomfortable for people, but it's also extremely effective at getting you to move forward beyond stuff. Yes, Julie.
I have a question about that. So you got that balance thing down pat, and you know where that sweet spot is. Like, you know when to be use masculine, you know when to be direct, and you know when to be like loving and nurturing. How do you find that sweet spot as a life coach? Like, how do you know when to be direct, and how do you know when to be like lenient and soft?
Well, I think that you always go in with your feelers open, always open, okay, receptive. And every time I go into session with the group or with just an individual person, I always tune into my higher self and I reach out through my higher self to your higher self, right? And just that one thing I do, it's always this inside me, and it's very quick. Just doing that tells my ego to move aside. So it actually is not a question of when do I do it, but rather how is it done through me? So very often you all will see me talking and I'll get on a roll and it's like, oh, Crystalline is on a roll. And actually it's not Crystalline on a roll, it's soul on a roll. Like it's whatever is happening inside me that is expressing itself, okay? So for me, I believe that going in and confronting your student, your client, whatever you're doing, being with them with this open, you know, so that you are open and receptive, that's feminine. That is going to tell you whether you should be hard or soft. If your intuition, if the person is showing you softness, brokenness, sadness, that then you want to talk to them at that level of softness. Okay, you're just listening. Now, if they're sitting there smiling and you know that there is a lie behind that smile, you feel it, then you want to address that. And you'll hear me say, you've heard me say, so what's really going on, right? And it's a straightforward question. So what's really happening? And that straightforwardness can be really uncomfortable for people, right? Because I'm not going to dance around it like, look, I know that this is not really the truth of what you're saying. So what's really going on? So Julie, that's my first answer. My second answer is trial and error. Okay, I've offended many people. I've had to apologize very often, and I'm not afraid to apologize. When you tell me that I've overstepped a boundary, if I've done something wrong, I'll be like, look, I'm sorry. I'll work with you differently. I'll be more aware. I'll be more sensitive to a degree. To a degree. I'm not going to sell out myself for somebody. I'm not going to be manipulated by anybody, right? So, but I am going to be listening, because I am here to listen and to help and to be of service. And I don't think, Julie, by the way, I don't think that you're going to actually have an issue with it, because I think you're extremely compassionate. When I listen to you and you're talking to me, you're an excellent communicator. You don't bulldoze your way through anybody. And even when I'm saying something, even when you and I were dealing with that issue, and you were like very dignified and very, you're like, look, Crystal, I didn't say that. But you didn't go crazy. You weren't mean. You weren't hard. You were a woman who was expressing herself in the highest way, you know? And then when you were met with something that was contrary to what you thought was true, you didn't put up a defense and be like, oh, you just photoshopped that, you know? You didn't say it. You didn't come up with craziness. You just went into, oh, I learned something, and then you moved on, right? I think that's how you're going to be as a life coach. You know, Spirit will show you when you need to go softer, and people will tell you.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you.
Sure. And Serena, you had something you wanted to add or ask? Up, you're muted.
Yeah, because my bird has been chirping away.
Oh.
Yeah, I wanted to add to this, because you say through my spirit, you're so 12th house, that is just innately. I'm so intense and I think and overthink and analyze, and yes, I go deep. And when you think I've gone deep, I'm going to go deeper, and I'm sure there's a deeper. So, but with a person, it's really, the expression is meeting them where they're at.
Yeah.
And but intuitively, there are so many other tools we have. It's presence, and be there, present for the other person. Once you just do that, everything else, the magic happens. It'll come through you, as masculine as I want to come in, with that whole research analytical power. There is this side that just, the heart just says, listen, be there, be present.
Yeah.
So all this 12th house and spirit, because you, through the breath, you just breathe and let it come in and out. Those things just happen. And from the little I've heard of you, yes, I agree with Crystal. You'd be just fine.
Yeah.
And it's a process. It's a process, and we walk on eggshells with everyone. We don't know until we know. So, and then okay, this is where I won't go, this is where I'll go, and slowly, okay, we got to go here now.
Yeah.
When they're ready, and in a coaching thing, is like, are you ready or not? Because otherwise you drop it or don't,
Right.
that's
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. You do
yeah.
have to be ready. That's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So look, y'all, I want to thank you all for joining me here today. This was really awesome to have you. Thank you. Thanks to Monica for coming and hopping on the call. Thanks to Connie for hopping on the call and diving in deep like day one, like, that's awesome. Thank you so much. So really, I appreciate you all coming here and sharing your experiences, you know, and thank you so much for your very, very positive feedback. Also, that's just really wonderful to hear. And obviously I see your feedback in action because I see you all just creating. And I just love to watch you all create. It's a real honor, right? So we'll go ahead and wrap it up for the day. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you all for our sessions next week. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Guys, and yeah, by Julie, by I forgot the name.
Bye, everyone.
Connie, that's what it was. Okay, bye.
Bye. See you soon. Ciao.
Oh, ciao, ciao. I have to talk to you. Okay, bye.
Okay, we will. Okay, ciao.
Okay.
Ciao.